I guess we should probably start this stream off with a quick compare. You compare a champion like this to a champion like Jin. And by the way, disclaimer, I don't pretend to be a professional play analyst. I don't really give a shit about pro play at all. I mostly focus on solo queue, but I will say this. Why pick Jinx, Jin, Ashe, and all these other champions when you have a champion like Aphelios? It's a really, really stupid argument to say something like, oh, well, we have to play positionally different versus this champion. If the conditionals of like, oh, you pick this champion, therefore you get all these other checks and balances that have to be met before we can play a game of League of Legends, whereas if we pick Jin, Jinx, Ashe, those considerations don't even exist. To me, it's just ridiculous. Champion's too strong, champion scales too well, champion does too much, champion's dumb. This is something that needed to happen. There's just too much versatility in this kit. For a champion that's super immobile, he just does too much, and he's bullshit. And this is just Riot trying to make money on a new champion, so I'm glad they nerfed him. Cassiopeia base magic resist decreased. Sneaky Lady didn't lose quite as much as we'd like, so we're slithering back some changes. Hee. Bundled with Conquer changes. We're hoping this follow-up will help Cass shed her skin. Lots of snake jokes, unnecessary. Magic resist down, and the Conqueror, which we'll get to in a bit. She's still strong. High skill, high reward champion that scales pretty well and has a lot of utility. I don't see her going anywhere, but thankfully, I personally don't find her to be too threatening in solo queue at the moment. This is more of a high elo touch. And what I'm saying here is Cassiopeia is still pretty good, and a lot of people just don't play her to her potential anyways. Gnar. Here's a champion that I don't personally like very much. Gnar, E attack speed increase, attack speed duration increase. Carefully nudging Mini Gnar in the right direction. We think his attack speed is a safe lever to bring up some, since he's been struggling with a much wider range of fighter matchups. This isn't a slight nudge at all. This is 40% attack speed. This is double attack speed at rank 1. So slight or nudging is the word that they used. I don't think this is a nudge. This is almost a shove. I don't know enough about Gnar's matchups specifically, and I don't really play him to know how big of a deal this is. But this is a champion that Riot has been buffing over time now for feels like 4 different patches they've buffed this guy. I don't like this champion being strong, and I was kind of okay with him not really existing other than like niche matchups. He kind of falls in the do too much territory. Gnar and Kennen both have this problem where when they're too strong, they're just obnoxious and they can play into any matchup. And I don't really want to see this with Gnar, but I'm not sure if I can just definitively say he's going to be broken. But to pretend that a 20% attack speed increase is minor and the attack speed duration is minor, I don't know if I buy it. This is going to get his Mega Gnar out faster, if I'm not mistaken. This is also going to make a lot of tighter situations where you survive off like one auto attack or whatever. Those are going to go away. So I think this is a pretty significant buff, and you're going to see a heavy win rate increase on Gnar. And I don't really like that. I don't want to play against Gnar. Kalista. Whether she's wrecking havoc top lane, jumping around standard bot lane carry, Kalista's imposing for some pro play. This is another pro play. This actually could be a lot of pro play targeted stuff. Gnar isn't really showing up. Maybe they just want him to be in pro play more. We want this change to encourage players to rely more on early power, and we'll also take some of her level scaling so she doesn't gain as much from soaking XP from side lanes. I don't know how significant this is, but it doesn't seem to be that big of a change. The biggest thing about Kalista is that she's a super mega cheese champ in top and a super mega cheese champ in coordinated duos, so pro play obviously like they're talking about, so she's not really going anywhere with this. It's not gonna be that significant of a change, at least in my opinion. Kog'Maw Q ratio increase, damage ratio increase on R. Although Kog'Maw's standard build has been doing well, AP Kog'Maw hasn't been oozing much confidence recently. We're bringing some enzymatic excitement. Players experiment with alternate builds around his AP. It just seems like they're forcing the AP build to be viable, although I don't really think it's viable. Versus good players, Kog'Maw is just free food. Poke builds, poke champs don't do very, very well in general. And I think Kog'Maw will be no different. Shove assassins will still just crush him, and yeah, I don't really see much there. Morning, everybody. Lucian, Q range increase. That's significant. Even with the specific marksman buff he received, Lucian's been in a weak spot in bot lane. Buffing his ability range, he can dash back. Not a huge buff, but is significant. Q range, being able to harass in lanes. You'll be able to hit more Qs from range. It's just going to win more lanes off of this. Going to get snowballed more often off of this, so it's a nice change for Lucian players. I don't know if this affects more of his duo laning or his solo laning. I would argue that solo lane probably gets a bit more out of this personally, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Nocturne, mid lane, top turn, lane turn, all outpacing jungle turn in terms of effectiveness by a decent margin, giving Nocturne more tools to clear out camps quicker and hopefully bringing his roles closer in power. Why is Nocturne allowed to see? This is kind of funny how Nocturne, like normally when champions can be flexed into 3 roles, Riot starts nerfing them, but for some reason Riot just really wants Nocturne to be a thing. He's already pretty decent. Let's see, passive Umbra Blades, basic attacks against enemy champions monsters reduce Umbra Blades cooldown by 2 seconds. Fixed blade Umbra Blades cooldown would always refund 1 second instead of 1 or 2 seconds based on the target. This clear is going to be a little faster. Makes me want to play Nocturne. Also, this buff solo Nocturne too, because when he gets ahead, he's going to take camps. Seems like they really want Nocturne to be, and laning against this guy is actually really, really obnoxious. It's weird that he doesn't show up more. His lane is so cheesy. It makes me want to play him. You literally just shove and roam, and there's no counterplay to it. New Q damage and healing ratio increase. Ard shield now includes AP ratio. Looks like these weird AP Nunu builds that show up sometimes will actually get a nice big buff here, so anybody that was playing that style should be happy. Ornn, passive health and mana items now retain previous health and mana percentages. We'd like to make Ornn less of an easy blind pick and pro, or knocking down his early item sustain. This is good. Basically, Ornn can't be pushed out of lane early with a competent solo laner because of how much free stats he gets off of building items in lane. Health and mana items built in the field retain its previous health and mana percentage. Returning to base still brings health and mana items back to full. Yeah, it's a pretty big nerf to Ornn's safety in lane. You expect a huge drop in win rate off that. Rakan, W base damage increased later with W that packs a bit more punch. Rakan can use to play more aggressive game while majestically dancing it out. Not a big buff. This is pretty minor. Don't really see too much value in this at all. This W is pretty long cooldown. These numbers changes aren't that significant, at least in my opinion. So I don't expect a big change here with Rakan. Rise, base magic resist and attacks damage increase. Cautiously bring up Rise's magic durability and damage so that he can rise against his enemies in lane and get to blast play. So still plays pretty bad into AD, plays better into mages. Make a mental note of that. This is a good. Syndra's annoying. Following up patch 10.11, we're continuing to adjust Syndra's powers to specifically target pro-facing changes. We're pulling out some of the sustained usage of Q. This is good. It should cost a lot of mana. It's bullshit. She can harass and zone people off a farm and be viable in every matchup. Bullshit. So this is good. She'll have to actually land her Qs or choose. If she's gonna zone you off, she better make sure that she's gonna kill you eventually if she's not gonna be able to do it anymore. So it's a good change. Vi, Q cooldown decrease later. Vi's been struggling to keep up with other junglers, so we're punching up her punch. We're hoping this will reinforce her position as a mobile disruptor. Vault breaker. I don't expect much change here. Vi's already pretty useless jungler for the most part. This change doesn't really do much, in my opinion. The only changes that really start to happen is level 5 and up. By then, game's normally decided, so this won't change much for Vi, at least in higher elo. Lower elo, maybe. York, our range for Maiden of the Mist's Leash decrease, making so Maiden Leash is more responsible when York exits a fight. We suspect this will be a small amount of power that skews towards the upper echelons of play where York is currently weak. Maiden of Mist's Leash range. Oh, there's a lot of macro going into this change. And Riot's dead on. No good York players are in low elo. The good ones in higher elo are going to be rejoicing with this. They're going to get a lot of little extra value when they can pull off the R from York. Yuumi, E-cost increase. We have nothing but love for felines here, but the cat's E-costs are currently too easily solved. With systemic mana increases, we're afraid this chapter needs to be shut. Wow. Significant nerf. That's good. Yuumi is obnoxious. She's just, yeah, this champion, they need to rework her or something, because she's not fun to play against. Just mid-game, she's OP automatically with their current design. Conqueror, we're happy with Conqueror's current standing. A keystone players gravitate to his elongated fights. We've been seeing the root bleed into other archetypes that overrule its peers. Yeah, Zeds and the Talons and everybody that's running it, so this makes sense. We're shaving off some of the power to open up keystone selection of number of champions. I mean, it's a nerf across the board. No matter how you slice it, it's a nerf. Nerf in how it plays in shorter fights. Nerf how it plays in longer fights overall. It's significant. That's a big nerf. Anybody that's spamming Conqueror is getting a win rate cut on that. Guardian's overperforming after its recent buffs, bringing the base shield value back down to before it was buffed. Good. Yeah, it was already strong. Buffing it in the first place was a pointless buff. Guardian was just undertaken because people don't like playing utility, but utility's valuable. So this buff was pointless in the first place. Death's Dance. Base post-mitigation damage toward decreased range champions. Good. Ezreal case will get knocked down. Aphelios case will get knocked down. Range champions should be able to take Death's Dance and get so much value out of it. Champ select reporting, mute. Champ select muting block messages, mute player champ select mute carries over in game for now. Champ reporting is the only place to collect data after experiments ends. So, a placebo. Not very effective. Bug fixes, skins, don't care. So, there's your patch. I don't know. Personally, I welcome some of these nerfs. I welcome a Syndra nerf. Nocturne is, I welcome a Yumi nerf. Yummy Cat needs to go anyways. But the Nocturne buff is the thing that is concerning me the most, as well as the Gnar buff. I don't know how these two things are going to interact, but I think Nocturne he's a very boring champion that no one really wants to play, and he's strong already, so this was a very strange line. And Gnar is just an obnoxious champion when he's viable, so trying to push him into viability broken status seems like a bad move. That's all I got. Alright, let's get a game going, boys. So many little dweebs acting like they're hot shit on a video game when they're mostly terrible, and they're losing games because they don't put effort in something they're already spending 30-40 minutes in a match, and they'll still try to lose on purpose. It's like, I don't understand how you can do that. Like, your parents won't kick you out of the house or something, being such a shithead, because you know if they act that way in the game, they act that way in real life. There's just no way. If they could, they would. As the game drags on, you should be able to definitively win once you get Blade of the Rune King. I like going Blade of the Rune King in this matchup because there's really no counterplay for him once you get ahead. There's no game sound. Oh, the great game sound bug. Nice. This guy's coming back up. Keeps using his stun in front of me, so I'm gonna put the pressure on him. I'll take that plate right up the top. Zach's mid, nice. Yeah, outplaying me at this point is very unlikely. Can I do it? Just putting pressure on him, see if he fucks up. I have a lot of gold behind, so see if he fucks up the dance. That was a battle. That was a scrap. You outrun the enemy team. What is the solution when you have a top laner that's pushed in? Well, I mean, if someone's this far ahead, it's not your choice anymore. The game's theirs to fuck up, really. I mean, all you really can do is just hope that they make a bad dive or a throw. Because it's League, you know? I'm huge. I'm basketball, and every time I've dunked on this kid, I've grown a foot taller. It's not much they can do if I know where to be and where to go. If my teammates don't troll, and I don't make any really stupid trades, like really bad trades, it's my game to lose. Top lane is basically about, if you're good enough, you need to smush your opponent's face into the dirt the whole game. If you're not good at top lane, your goal is to just survive and learn how to make good TP flanks, basically, and how to like manage waves. And follow their heart. They think that a Trynd Flame Horizon in fucking top lane with 10 kills in early inhib. I mean, I've seen worse. I've lost games, so.
Jesus Christ. That's a lot of CC. Knockups, by the way, the reason why I don't go like tenacity, you think, newbies think, oh, you go tenacity. Knockups don't give a fuck about tenacity. Knockups best CC in the game. So when you're getting thrown around like that, you just fucking take it. That's all you can do.